Hello, everyone, and welcome to Office Hours. This is our monthly get together where we dig into marketing automation, share what's working, and tackle the questions you've been wrestling with. Your questions are what make this work. So, a quick thank you to everyone who submitted one ahead of today's event. And when we wrap up today, you'll see a short survey pop up. If you've got just a minute to fill it out, it genuinely helps us make these better. We're recording today, and the replay link will land in your inbox tomorrow. And with that, let me introduce myself. My name is Richard Holder, and I am the Director of Marketing here at Forethought Marketing. I'll be your host today. Presenting today is Sam Gallinelli, Marketing Operations Principal at Forethought Marketing and one of our experts on privacy compliance. Before I ask Sam to introduce herself, a couple of quick housekeeping notes. If something comes to mind while Sam is talking that you want to ask, and we really hope that you do, drop it in the Q&A panel. That way we can keep track of everything and get as many questions in as we can. If there's something you'd like to cover in a future session, throw that in here too. We read every suggestion. Okay, Sam, would you mind sharing a bit about yourself, your journey in marketing operations and at Forethought, and then please proceed into your presentation.
I appreciate the introduction, Richard. I am Sam Gallinelli, or just Sam. I've been at Forethought now for, I think, almost 8 years. And I've been in marketing automation for probably close to 20 years. I started out in Eloqua in my very first job after college, cleaning leads that were being routed over to, I think it was a Salesforce system. And right away, I just loved being in the tool. I have a natural tendency to want to understand data and the flow of data. And so I kind of just started cleaning up leads, and my career with marketing automation has evolved quite a bit over the last 20 years. I spent a lot of time in campaign services, just executing, getting campaigns out, and then over time learned more and more about engineering and programming and integrations, and ultimately compliance, because compliance is such a huge part of email. And it kind of landed in my lap, and have I learn a tremendous amount about compliance every single day, and I'm always helping my clients set up and optimize the way that they handle compliance in their marketing automation tools. And I will now jump into today's topic, and it is compliance. So today I'm going to be talking about forms and consent. And are you accidentally deleting valid consent? And what I mean by that is when somebody comes to a form, so it might be that they're registering for a webinar, or they're downloading an asset, or they are signing up for your newsletter, any of those types of actions that somebody's taking, there's going to be, or there should be, a checkbox in the bottom of a form where you are asking for consent to email. You can also, in a checkbox or several checkbox, ask for permission to, process data or SMS functionality. So some companies have multiple checkboxes on their forms. Some only have one for marketing communications. It varies. But that checkbox is ultimately what's going to drive somebody's consent record. And we know that people submit forms sometimes more than once. We hope that people submit forms more than once. And the challenge with that is making sure that you withstand those yes consents that you're getting from your database. So the problem that I'm identifying in today's office hours is when forms silently overwrite valid consent records. And I'm going to dig more into that in the next few slides and talk about how that can negatively impact your database and what you can do pretty easily to fix it. All right, so I started talking about this already. We're talking about forms. I'm going to do a hypothetical scenario where it's me, and I'm going to sign up for a company's newsletter. And today I go and I see the newsletter sign up and I check that box. I'm giving my yes consent. I'm telling them which country I live in, which is also very important for consent. And somewhere we're going to record that consent activity. And because it's a yes, you can legally email that person for a certain amount of time. You can say, I have proof that we have this relationship. This person consented. This is their consent. They have not explicitly withdrawn their consent anywhere. And so I can email them. And companies will set a certain amount of time to retain somebody's consent. So, for example, a yes consent in a more regulated country, like a GDPR country, will get maybe 5 years on the shelf where you say, all right, this person clearly has shown interest. They've given us their yes. And we feel safe to email them for the next 5 years. And you give them an expiration date somewhere. Now, that person might come back a month later and sign up for a webinar. And on that webinar form, they're going to see the same checkbox. And people don't always check the box. And it's not always very intentional. Sometimes they might not have noticed it. They're not thinking about it. But they're signing up for your webinar. So they're clearly interested in what you're offering, and they just did not check the box. That's not a deliberate withdrawal of consent. But the problem is that recording of submitting a form and not checking the box, if you don't properly set it up in your system, will overwrite your yes. So that contact that had 5 years where you could email them submits another form, and that 5 years shrinks down to 6 months because now they're recorded as not giving a yes consent on a form submit. And so that's the problem. And I just talked a lot about this. The slide gives a few examples. So like an unrelated webinar or asset download could cause this. And it shrinks that window where you're going to be able to email somebody, and getting somebody to refresh their consent isn't always easy. So you want to make sure you keep that window of deliverability as open as possible. All right. So context matters. So there is going to be times when somebody submits a form and it should override. So that would be a good example is like a preference management page. Usually there's an unsubscribe checkbox on a preference management page, but I've also seen pages where if you just don't check anything, like if you say, I don't want the newsletter or I don't want your event emails, that is also saying do not want any of the emails, right? So that isn't that is an explicit withdrawal. You're saying, I don't want to receive these emails anymore. Or you're actually going and saying, unsubscribe me globally from all of these communications. In that case, you're going to override a yes consent, and you're going to update that TTL or time to live, which is an expiration date, to 0, right? Because that person has said, I don't want to receive this anymore. The big difference is they're explicitly saying, don't reach out to me. They're not just not checking a box. And the standards for the rules around how compliance works, not checking a box doesn't mean you should withdraw somebody's consent. And I think there's many organizations that don't realize that. So an unchecked box is not a withdrawal. A preference center submission, that is a deliberate choice that you need to act on. GDPR, CASL, CAN-SPAM, LGDP all require an affirmative act to withdraw consent, meaning it has to be deliberate. And so what happens if you don't have the functionality in place to look at your prior consent and prevent that overwriting with an unchecked form is you might have a growing database, but your ability to actually email the contacts in your database is shrinking. And you also may have records where it's showing consent not given because a box wasn't checked, but that's not necessarily somebody who has not subscribed or has said, do not communicate with me. And I want to talk just briefly about a few different ways that you can get around this issue. So you can build processing functionality into your forms that will look to see what somebody has for their prior consent and then doesn't update a form submission or overwrite. You can do it that way. It takes quite a bit of engineering and it can be a little, there's a little bit of heavy lifting to set that up. You can build programs as well that evaluate form submissions and look for that prior data and basically route and update contacts according to the rules that you set up. I've done this for clients. I've seen clients do this for themselves successfully. We do have a product called ForComply that manages consent, and it integrates with marketing automation tools. And in our ForComply product, and actually I'll show it. Let me just see if I can, I'm going to pause for a second. Okay. Can everyone see ForComply? You should see a map. Yes. Okay, good. All right. So this is ForComply, and within our regulations, so this is the regulation set up right here, and this is GDPR, which is probably the most well-known regulation. So I'll jump into this one, and here we have basically this is where we set up our rules for when somebody submits a form and how long we should be able to email them based off of the action that they took. And these are our rules right here. They're called processing purposes. And this is where you actually set how long you should be able to email a contact based off of their form submission. So this is an asset download with consent, and we give it 60 months, which is 5 years. And this is an asset download without consent. And that's an unchecked box, which is what I've been talking about. And for this, they only get 3 months. So that's a big difference in the amount of time that you can email somebody. Now this little feature right here, this consent override, is covering the topic that I just went through. And the toggle basically tells you if you have a no, should it override an existing consent value of yes? And my recommendation is always no, it shouldn't. So I like this to be off, right? Because I don't want an unchecked box to erase my consent that I've already given. This toggle feature basically looks at what comes in for the consent. And if you already have an active yes and it's a no, it records it. It shows the in the history that the person submitted the form. It gives all of the details that you need and you need to store. It just doesn't update their expiration date because the yes doesn't need to be overridden by that unchecked box. And this little button right here makes it so that you don't have to do all of the engineering within your marketing automation tool and within your form processing steps to make sure that you don't bleed out your database when people are not explicitly saying, don't email me. And I will go back to the presentation now. So let me just flip back over to that. There we go. Okay. And can everyone see my deck again? Sorry about that. I will take that as a yes. So as I just showed you, for comply has a little toggle setting. It makes it super easy. But like I said, there's many different ways to configure this. And the most important thing is you're thinking about it and you have the engineering in place in your marketing automation setup to make sure that you're not losing access to your database for unchecked consent checkboxes. And now we can open it up to Q&A. Richard, did we get any questions?
Yes, we do have some questions. So let me start out with the first one. It's a pretty detailed one, so let me read it carefully. Any suggestions for list uploads from third-party vendors or event organizers? Should it always be the most recent choice? And they go on to say, we have an email status field with express implied no consent values, which is set to always update, so it's always the most recent. But this means we lose contacts who were previously express consent to no consent, even if they didn't capture consent data for that particular event.
Ooh, okay. So in this scenario, you have contacts that already existed in the database. It sounds like, and they might have had consent already. And then there's an upload where the consent wasn't captured and it clears out the yes consent.
That is
Is
correct.
that okay? So that's exactly the problem that I'm identifying. So in the case where you have a list upload, number one, you should try to see if you can get any consent from that. If you don't have any consent, by default, it's like you're going to do a list upload with a no consent, which is an unchecked. You also need to have country data because that's going to impact how long somebody's going to be able to be emailed, the stricter rules depending on the country. So in a list upload template, you want to have consent, yes or no. If you didn't get it, you're going to set it as no. And you want to have country. And then beyond that, you want to have something in place that looks to see if there was already a yes consent and it doesn't update over that. So you don't want to overwrite an existing yes consent with a list upload for sure. But if you build functionality, it will look at the contact level and it will not change that yes consent, even though an upload came in later with a no consent. Hopefully I was able to answer that.
She followed up with, where would I build that functionality?
You can build it using programs in Eloqua. So, for example, or is this an Eloqua user? So you could use it using a program in any marketing automation tool, but the form, I usually set up compliance at the form level. And so I will sometimes set up like form update rules. And if it's a yes or a no consent, I will set a bunch of values to process a yes versus a no. And it will give me those dates through the form processing. And then also from the update rules, you push it into a program. So anytime somebody submits a form, they're going to go into a routing program, and that program, it's going to be involved. So I can't tell you every single detail of how you would engineer it, but that program would look at the consents and would make decisions and updates based off of how you set up the flow of the program. So two things. You're going to do form update rules to update certain values based off of consent, and you're going to do a push to a compliance program.
Just to clarify, Sam, in the list upload case, it's going to go directly into the contact. So how would you try to orchestrate that so it would not make the update, especially at the beginning where we said she set the field update to always update?
Okay, so it's contact fields. So it's an up. Okay. Ask the question again, Richard.
You bet. And yeah, this is a good one to answer. So since we have an email status field, I'm going to say that that sounds like it's on the contact record with
Yep.
express, implied, and no consent. And it's set to always have the most recent. So when the list upload happens and it does not have, let's see, but this means we lose contacts who were previously express consent to no consent if they didn't capture consent data. So if the consent was empty, it's going to be toggling it basically down to no consent.
So I still think you're going to need programming in place to manage that. So when you do the upload, it should go into a program and you can use update rules. So you would basically take the segment that you're uploading. You feed it into a program, and then you're going to check, does this record have express consent? Yes, and you're going to bypass the update to that field. So it's an involved question. You can do it with engineering, but it requires quite a bit of programming.
Great. Thank you, Sam. And
The
thank you
other
for your,
thing,
sorry, go ahead.
the other thing I'm thinking you could do is instead of having it write to a contact field, put your consent records into a custom object, and then you can take the most recent, or you can take the furthest out of your expiration dates. So it might have multiple form submissions in it, but you pull what's the most relevant. So that instead of always overwriting one contact field, you can have more of a history of that person's consent transactions, and they're all there available to you, and you can overwrite a no if you have an existing yes that has a further expiration date.
Okay, thank you. We do have one more question, but we will stay here until we've answered all the questions that you have. So while I'm getting the next question ready, please feel free to submit one using the Q&A button. And this last question that was submitted said, why even have a consent form field? I think they're meaning checkbox. Why
Yep.
not just have a consent statement on the page, on the form page?
So you can have a consent statement in certain countries, and it's basically the US. But for other regulations like GDPR, they require a deliberate action to show that you gave consent. So they require a checkbox or else it doesn't count. So if you were to just put a statement and somebody later on came and questioned that, you would have a hard time in the audit process because you can't show where somebody deliberately took an action like checking a box. Um, and so it's really the rules and the regulations require that checkbox.
Great, thank you. All right, we are at end of time, and without more questions, I'm going to close here. So thanks everyone for joining us today. Please remember that as I end, there will be a short survey. It only takes a minute. These really help us. And our next office hours will be, I didn't write it down, so it'll be the last Thursday of July. We look forward to seeing you there. And please let us know if you have topics you would like us to cover, because we'll bring our experts like we have here with Sam, who answered a question. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Richard.